But it's good, YouTube. We are back at it again. This is Key versus Star. No, it's been a while, but we are back and we are bringing y'all content. Now, this is who is the GOAT. This is a debate that's been going on for a decade. Jimmy High Roller, a very popular YouTuber, put out a video. The harsh truth about who's the GOAT. We're going to react to it today. I have my own personal stance on who I think is the GOAT. Let's see if he can change my mind. I got Michael Jordan all day. Let's get right to it, man.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Team for the Lakers. LeBron! Look out below! Oh, my Lord!
It's never gonna end, is it? LeBron's reign over the NBA. I've just come to the conclusion that LeBron has hacked into the Matrix and has transcended aging. LeBron is in his 19th NBA season and is somehow still one of the best players on the planet. This isn't supposed to happen. 99% of NBA players peak in their mid to late 20s and then slowly
I think we need to stop this too. This whole LeBron James is still this good at this age. Like my thought is in the next 20 years, we're going to see players playing into their 40s or who is really going to be good. Maybe not to the level of LeBron James, depending on how you feel. Like personally, I don't feel like LeBron James has been that great in the last 3 years, simply because the way that the game is played now, it's a lot easier to score points. And that's what he's been showing us. Like defensively, he has been terrible. People don't want to say that, but that's actually what it is. Like he's not been a great defensive player. And for me to be a great player, you have to be a defensive player. You can't be a liability. And for a lot of this time, he has been a liability. So that's my personal stance on that. But man, let's keep it going, man.
As they age, eventually becoming a liability to their team and inevitably sailing off into the sunset, washed up and content with their achievements. But not LeBron. The man is fighting his age like he's got a grudge on time itself. And the more he piles up on these mind-bending feats, the more we must ask ourselves the question, and I really hate to do this, but is LeBron the greatest basketball player of all time?
Not in my book!
What would he need to do to truly, once and for all, be the GOAT?
I think that's over with.
About 5 years ago, I uploaded my first basketball-related video onto this channel. The title of that video is LeBron the GOAT. You can still watch this video today, but since it's an absolute dog water of a production, I highly recommend you steer clear of it. To summarize the video, I gave 10 reasons why LeBron would retire as the GOAT. Fast forward 5 years and thousands of hours of watching games, collecting data, and gathering context in this sport that we love. I've since changed my ways and realized that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player.
That's what I'm talking about.
But my original assessment from 5 years ago hasn't completely changed. Because I never said LeBron was the GOAT at the time. I just gave 10 reasons why LeBron would retire as the GOAT. But ever since I dropped that video, I've pretty much avoided the GOAT conversation altogether. I've put a spin on the idea of the greatest players in certain aspects of the game. I've talked about the greatest scorers. I've ranked players using purely numbers. But I've never really broken down who the greatest player is, in my opinion, because I just feel like the topic is a bit redundant. And ESPN already gives you a daily update on the GOAT debate anyway.
Hey, what is ESPN gonna do when LeBron James retires? Do anybody have any, like, do you have a suggestion of what they're gonna do? Do you have a thought process? Like, bro, I honestly don't know what they're gonna do. Like,
so no need for me to do it. But I think it's time we actually discuss this, because what LeBron is doing at this point in his career is just absurd. At the moment, there are pretty much 3 different camps on the whole GOAT debate. People who think Michael Jordan is the GOAT, people who think LeBron is the GOAT, and people who are wrong. I'm just joking, of course, but not really. I'd say about 75% of people fall into the MJ's the GOAT category.
Yes.
About 20% of people fall into the LeBron's the GOAT category, and about 5% fall into the other category. Usually these other fans believe the GOAT is Wilt, Kobe or Kareem.
Yeah, that's really it.
But boy, will they die on that hill. See, the thing here is that a lot of the fans in
Kobe is my favorite player.
To
me, he's just not the greatest player.
Be the GOAT. But realistically, is there anything LeBron can do to surpass him?
No.
I mean, there's got to be some sort of objective metric.
No, there's nothing LeBron can do at this point. It's over with.
No opinions, No bias.
Yeah, Mike,
just
tell
the
me.
facts. If LeBron somehow won 4 more championships and retired with 8 rings, he'd
I mean, that's a
undoubtedly be the
possibility.
GOAT.
What's the likelihood
Right.
of that happening?
So
Oh my God.
there are paths for him to become the greatest ever. But where does that threshold lie? And what would LeBron have to achieve to get there?
I don't know. All right,
First,
stats.
let's just take a look at the basic numbers. Between
I don't
Michael
believe
and
in the
LeBron,
stats
LeBron
debate.
has more career points, rebounds, assists, blocks, more triple doubles, higher
He didn't
field
play
goal
the
percentage, and a higher
shitload of
three-point
more.
percentage. And Michael has more
Right.
steals and a higher free throw percentage. But this whole argument, the career totals,
It's a
argument,
longevity
is only
stat.
useful in demonstrating LeBron's longevity and sustained excellence.
I be
These
knowing,
numbers
man.
don't prove that LeBron's a better scorer, or rebounder, or defender,
Or
shooter than Jordan.
really
They just
anything.
prove that LeBron's been good at these things for
A long time.
very long time. These numbers also show just how versatile LeBron is, possibly his most valuable asset. So
LeBron
instead of
James
looking
is a
at career
monster,
totals,
though.
Let's
You
look
gotta
at
give
career
him that.
averages. Michael averages more
Yeah.
points and more steals, and LeBron averages more assists and more rebounds. And as much as it pains me to say this, this is usually where the argument for the GOAT ends for most people. Throw in a required comment about their finals records, and you pretty much have a condensed version of most GOAT debates. But there is so much more to unpack
He
here.
ain't lying though.
So let's unpack it.
Advanced stats. Oh man,
So
these
y'all know
advanced
how much
stats
I
be
like
pissing me
advanced
off.
stats.
It's so
They don't
much.
tell the full
You can't
story,
tell
but
me
if you know
Jokic
which
ain't the
ones to
greatest
look
player
for,
of
you
all
can
time when you
discover
use
some
advanced
nuances in a player's
stats.
game that you won't get by just watching them play. Player efficiency rating, win shares per 48, offensive box plus minus, defensive box plus minus, value over replacement, and true shooting percentage. These 6 advanced stats give us efficiency, production, value, impact, and pretty much everything
I'm
in
guessing
between.
they all gonna be
And
Michael
in
Jordan.
These 6 advanced statistics, Michael Jordan exceeds LeBron in 5 of them. He's
Except
more
for true
efficient
shooting.
overall. He contributes to more wins. He contributes to more points. He's better on defense, and he is generally more valuable on the court than LeBron is. The only advanced stat where LeBron tops Jordan is true shooting percentage. Now, in terms of who's a better basketball player, nearly every metric points to Michael Jordan. But really take a look at these numbers, and it's actually uncanny just how close LeBron is to
Yeah,
MJ
it's really
across
close.
the board. Just a fraction behind
Yeah.
Jordan in pretty much everything. But these numbers aren't even addressing who's greater, because that conversation would involve accolades and accomplishments and impact on the game. Take away the rings, the influence, the intangibles, the opinions, and it's virtually objectively true that Michael was a better basketball player than LeBron. But the GOAT debate
That's
isn't
facts,
necessarily
though.
about who is the better player. It's about who is the greatest player.
All right, better and greatest. This is a hard debate to even have with people because it's like I would honestly say Will Chamberlain is probably the greatest basketball player of all time. Like just the stats that he put up in the time where he was doing that, he was so much better than every other person in the league. Then you have to say he's the greatest because people say, "Oh well, Bill Russell beat him," but Bill Russell had like 5 Hall of Famers on his team. Was he actually better than him, or was his team so much better than everybody else that made them beat Wilt Chamberlain? Because no one person can beat everybody. But if you put Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell on a court at the exact same time with the exact same players on their team, I think Wilt Chamberlain wins it 1,000% of the time. Not even 100. 1,000% of the time, Wilt Chamberlain wins every single game. That's not how you determine who the best is. It's just like, you can't say anyone is the greatest because there's always going to be great people in every era. You know what I mean?
We've got some more unpacking to do. Now,
Michael
we
Jordan,
cannot have
probably.
a thorough GOAT debate without discussing the accomplishments of each player.
That's
Numbers
not
are
fair.
cool, and they have their purpose, but
Because
numbers alone
Mike is
aren't
so
indicative
far
of
and
greatness.
ahead of
They're just a
LeBron James, it's
vehicle to
ridiculous.
greatness.
But
This
then you
is
look
why,
at
despite
Kareem and
James Harden
he's
spending half a decade
shit,
piling
he
up some
crazy.
of the greatest scoring numbers in NBA history, most people don't consider him greater than some players with far lesser offensive
Yeah,
numbers.
because he's not.
The numbers
He not
complement
like
the
that.
accolades, not the other way around. This is also why I consider Wilt Chamberlain to have been a better basketball player than Bill Russell, but Bill Russell was greater than...
How did I just have this exact same conversation when he was talking about best and greatest, and then he brings up exactly what I'm talking about? Bro, I think I need to make basketball YouTube videos, man. I think I gotta start making these videos, man. I don't know what to do, man.
Wilt achieved his greatness through his numbers, whereas Russell achieved his greatness by contributing to an unrelenting style of winning basketball. So let's take a look at the accomplishments of both Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Now, there are plenty of other awards a player can earn in the NBA, but these are the ones that really stand out on a player's resume. Championships, Finals MVPs, regular
Six
season
championships,
MVPs,
six Final
Defensive Player of the Year,
MVPs,
all
4
NBA
or
selections,
5
and all defensive team selections. And
Yeah,
amongst these 6
besides all
categories,
NBA and
Jordan
all
beats LeBron
defense, Michael Jordan
in
is
5
leading.
of them. And Michael accomplished all of this
Oh,
in
he-
just 15
he got more
seasons
all
to LeBron's
defense, too?
full 18 seasons. The only category where LeBron outperformed Michael is
I felt like at the time when LeBron was with Miami and those later early run Cleveland years, I felt like he should have more all defensive teams. But was he really just not really that great? It felt like he was a better defender because people like to say this, all 5. He guards all 5 positions, which is bullshit. I felt like he would have been higher up than 6. 6 just seems really low.
NBA selections. And most will argue that, again, this is an accomplishment of longevity more than anything else, which, at this point, seems to be the overall theme in the GOAT debate. Up to this point in his career, the majority of fans will agree that LeBron has been a step below Jordan in terms of greatness. So now the race to become the GOAT has become a marathon. Because eventually, the sheer volume of LeBron's career numbers and achievements
I
may
agree,
become so
because that is
overwhelming that we'll have no
it
choice
is something
to
that you
concede
have
he
to
is,
put
in
into
fact,
context.
the greatest player of all time, which brings us to a real dilemma in this age-old debate.
So you're saying there's a chance?
The flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long. A great quote by the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu regarding the idea of excellence and the sustainability of it. Almost as if you can have longevity or be exceptional, but you can't have both. Now, in the world of basketball and sports in general, usually being exceptional translates to longevity and vice versa. Michael Jordan was excellent for 13 seasons in the NBA. His flame was violently bright and had burned for quite some time. But what if there was a flame that burned about 95% as bright and lasted much
I wouldn't
longer?
say 95.
At a certain point, the
I would
radiance
say
of
80.
even the brightest flame is outclassed by the flame that just won't quit. Of course, LeBron isn't a flame. He's a 6'9", 250-pound freak of nature in basketball shoes, but his light shines about 95% as bright as Michael Jordan's did, and it's lasting a whole lot longer. When does the longevity of LeBron's brilliance simply outmatch the slightly greater but much shorter brilliance of Michael? Because as we've discussed, Mike trumps LeBron in pretty much every single metric other than longevity.
All right, I'm gonna quit stopping it so much, but this is my thought on it. People who say that LeBron James has been so great for so long, I honestly don't agree with that. Like, to get in that pantheon of that top 10, top 5 of all time, which to me LeBron James is in it. I got LeBron James 3rd. Take away 1/2 of basketball, bro. Defense is a thing in basketball, and when you are so much less of someone in one aspect of the game, when there's only 2 sides, it always takes you down for me. Defensively, LeBron James is 2 notches below Jordan. And offensively, he's just about at the exact same spot for me. So you don't get 95 from that. For me, you get 80. Because he's still a good defender, but he isn't at that top echelon of defender. When you are never considered the best defender in basketball, you can never be at that Michael Jordan level. For a decade, Michael Jordan was considered the best offensive and best defensive player in the league. LeBron James doesn't fit that bill for me.
And overall production. So the real question here is, how much longer will LeBron have to be excellent before the majority agrees that he is greater than Michael was? The man is in his 19th NBA season, and he's leading the NBA in scoring. He's still a top 5 player in the league, and his bag is getting deeper and deeper with every season. Here's
There's
a
no
chart
such thing
of
as a
LeBron's
fucking
total
bag.
points, assists, and rebound averages throughout each season of his career.
Sorry.
Each point on
That
the
makes-
graph
that makes
represents
me
the
upset.
total average
That
of
makes me so
points,
upset.
assists, and
That
rebounds
bag
for every
bullshit.
season
Ain't
of
no
his career.
fucking such thing
So,
as a
for
bag.
example, this season LeBron is putting up 8, 6, and 30 a game, so his total for the season is 44. Now, in the NBA, anything above a total of 40 is exceptional. LeBron's total production has exceeded 40 in 17 different seasons. Now here's Michael's total average points, assists, and rebounds for every season of his career. This is by far the greatest argument in favor of LeBron in the GOAT debate. The man has simply sustained excellence for longer than Mike did, and although the numbers are just a
Wait. Let me go back. Let me see if I can go back. All right. I'm gonna go back so y'all can see what I'm finna say to y'all. All right, now wait till you go to Michael Jordan.
Now here's Michael's total average point.
All right, now you see this second season, right? This is why context matters so much. Michael Jordan was injured that fucking season, right? And you got 14 and 15. This nigga was 40 fucking years old, right? So when you do shit like this, it's not fair, because if you see that, right, that you can't even see it, I'm in front of it, right? There's a huge dip. It goes down to damn near zero right there, right? For Michael Jordan's second season. If Michael Jordan is not injured that season, that doesn't happen, right? And you look at the difference between LeBron James's first season and Michael Jordan's first season. You telling me that Michael Jordan dipped so motherfucking much in his second season? If that was accurate on actual playing time, then it would be different. To me, that's a fraudulent stat. It's a fraudulent stat.
Assists, and rebounds for every season of his career. This is by far the greatest argument in favor of LeBron in the GOAT debate. The man has simply sustained excellence for longer than Mike did. And although the numbers are just a vehicle to greatness, there has got to be a point where the numbers are just too glaring to ignore. LeBron's numbers are getting to that point. But some fans will argue that there were other players that were still really good this late in their career. You mean like Kareem, or Kobe, or Karl Malone? They weren't even close. LeBron's already the only player to be a part of the 30K, 10K, 10K club. Aside from a freak injury, he'll undoubtedly break Kareem's scoring career. He already has the record for most All-NBA selections, and he's still adding to what is probably the longest career highlight reel with moments like this. If LeBron is still doing this in a couple years, while still putting up All-NBA numbers, I really think it's going to be difficult to say that he's not the greatest player ever.
He's never gonna be the greatest. Never lost.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. While LeBron's legacy is growing as he plays more seasons, Michael's legacy would have been slightly diminished if he played more seasons. Of course, this isn't a matter of fact, but all the evidence points towards this assumption. Michael Jordan retiring after playing just 13 NBA seasons in 1998 was the best thing he could have ever done for his legacy. The Bulls were not going to win another championship, and the backbone of the dynasty he had built had all but vanished by the beginning of the 1999 season. If he had played through that 3-year retirement gap from 1999 to 2001, he would have either stayed with the Bulls and put up huge numbers on a losing team, or signed with a different team and chased rings. Both options being far less illustrious than him going out on top with the team that drafted him. Michael's career was the perfect storm. He was drafted by a franchise that was ready and willing to build around him. He was on a roster that suited his skill sets extremely well, and he and the Bulls peaked right as the dominant teams from the 80s and early 90s like the Lakers, Celtics, and Pistons began to fade away. You could not have written a better career if you tried. On the other hand, despite his success, LeBron really got the short end of the deal many times throughout his career. He spent his first 7 seasons in the NBA playing for a team that could not have cared less about building a coherent team around him.
Whoa, stop it, bro. Stop it, man. Like, in what world was the Chicago Bulls this great organization when Michael Jordan got there? They weren't, bro. I'm from Illinois, bro. When I was a kid, the Bulls was winning all the fucking championships. But if you went into somebody's house, it was Chicago Bears shit everywhere. The Bulls were the luckiest franchise in the 80s. The fact that they end up getting Michael Jordan. They was not ready for that. They was not ready to put Michael Jordan on their team. Like, stop it, bro. That's revisionist history, bro. Because you literally saw LeBron James and Michael Jordan do the exact same fucking thing when they came into the league, bro. They took that shit by storm. The Bulls was not this ready-made fucking team for Michael Jordan. Just like the Cleveland Cavaliers was not for LeBron James. It was not. There was no success for the Bulls before Michael Jordan got there. They were trash. Stop it, man. We gotta stop this, man.
He spent 4 straight finals going toe-to-toe with the most dominant dynasty in
So
modern
what?
NBA history
Nigga, you play who
outside
you
of
go
Jordan's Bulls.
against.
While Michael was surrounded by players who were all willing to buy into their system, LeBron has spent many years carrying the load of bad rosters and seemingly incompetent teammates.
That is LeBron James's fault.
Part of which is his own fault for trying to play GM and putting together piss-poor rosters. And I bring up these small nuances because the GOAT debate is very nuanced. As much as people want to act like the whole 6-0 in the finals is the end-all be-all to the discussion, it's just not. If rings
It's
were
not.
all
I'll give you
mattered,
that.
then Bill Russell would be the GOAT.
It's not.
Oh, but he played a long time ago. That doesn't count. Okay, well then Robert Horry is the GOAT because he has 7 rings to Jordan's 6.
And
Yeah, but Horry wasn't the best player on any of those
never
championships.
was.
Okay, so is the argument about rings, or is it about being the best player on the court, or a mixture of both? Is a player's performance, despite how masterful it was, all in vain if his team loses? The line becomes less and less clear the deeper you dig. No single metric can be used to determine this debate. And the unpacking of every small minute detail is a necessary burden. But unfortunately, it's a burden that most fans won't bother to take on.
I'll give him that. He is telling the truth on that.
At the moment, I personally believe Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I also think he's the best basketball player of all time. But,
Yeah.
unlike some fans, I don't think the door has closed on LeBron. I think that if LeBron can continue to dominate the league for a few more seasons and continue to shatter our previous notions of what we thought was possible in a single NBA career, I think that he has a chance to retire as the greatest player of all time. But of course, only time will tell. And fortunately for LeBron, time seems to perpetually be on his side.
All right, y'all. So that was the harsh truth about the GOAT debate. This is something I've been watching the Winning Time series on HBO Max. I actually have a respect for Kareem that I didn't have before that, right? Because I'm watching Kareem and he got these rings, he got these MVPs, he got all these stats. Like, he's really fucking great. But when you watching that show, you find out something in like episode 4 or 5. If I don't know if this clicked into the people's brain that watched this like it clicked into mine. For the last 7 or 8 years of Kareem's career, the offense that he played in was terrible for him. The system was bad for him. He is a 7'2" center who is in his early 30s. And they want to run a fast-paced offense. That is a terrible combination for him because he was a high post, low post, over-the-shoulder player. And they wanted to move fast up and down the court and easy buckets, right? And he still got the most points in the NBA. That's crazy to me. The fact that he even is at that point where he has the most points and he was playing in a fucking offense that was not predicated for him to actually do shit. Of course, the game slowed down. He get the ball, like he said, fourth quarter, the game slowed down. I'll get my 30 and 10. That's what he said. But you got to think, if he was in an offense where the offense was predicated around him correctly, and he could get his points all through the flow of the game, he might have another 4,000 or 5,000 points. Personally, that's what I think. But I got Michael Jordan 1, I got Kareem 2, I got LeBron 3. And before that Winning Time show, I actually had LeBron James 2. And I had Kareem 3. But learning that this offense that they was running was fucking kryptonite for Superman, and he still got the most points. That's crazy to me, man. But it's been Keith versus Star. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and share the video if you would like. And we out.